Hi all, I have come up with a video where I'll be showing you how you can create projects using Gradle. Gradle is a Gradle plugin that can automate everything you do with MarkLogic. Deploy an application, add a host, back up a database, stub out a new project, load modules and modify them, run an MLCP or COB or a data movement jobs. If it involves MarkLogic, Gradle either automates it already or can be extended to do so. This video, I'm going to create a MarkLogic project, deploy the project and load the data into MarkLogic using Gradle task known as ML load data. So let's get started. What I'll do is that I'll first create a folder here, name it as ML project. Now what I'll do is that I'll open Visual Studio and point this Visual Studio to my folder. So I'm developing everything from scratch, so please bear with me. So this is the folder. Now basically, like, you need three tools or 3 or 4 tools which, while working with the MarkLogic and creating a project, obviously you need MarkLogic. Now I have version 10.0-1. Like latest, you can use anything above 9, that will be preferable. Second, you need Gradle. Above version 4 is fine. I'm currently running version 6.3, so Gradle version 6.3. Third, Java. So Java 14.0.1. This is the Java version which I am using. So let's build a project from our Gradle. Open the command prompt and open a new file. So I'll be creating first build.gradle file. This build.gradle file will be our entry to the MarkLogic project. So we have Gradle version 4.0.3, and NetSelman properties is basically like using Gradle properties by the default what Gradle provides. So after this, I'm going to save it as build.gradle. Now second thing I'm going to use is there's a wizard, and it really helps us to create MarkLogic project, create all those directories, files related to MarkLogic stuff, so that when it is prepared we can easily deploy it. Gradle ML new project. So in the first step, it will ask what application name do I want to use for my project. So let's say I want to give it a name as MarkLogic demo. Then obviously, like it's asking me like the host on which I have to deploy. So I have MarkLogic installed on my local machine, but what you can do is that you can use any of the MarkLogic instance which you have installed on the remote server. So by pressing enter, I'll be using a default one. Then default username admin, default password admin. And now here, if we want to create a REST API, so like for this project actually it's not required, but in the future when we need to write a couple of REST application, or we build some kind of REST application, we will be surely requiring this one. So I'll be giving it port 8011, and there's a test rates API port. If you want, you can use it. So like this is mainly required to running unit test. And do you want to use support for multiple environments? So like for this project or for this video, I'm only using the local one. I'm not using a multiple environment like dev, test and prod, but obviously like you can use that. So I will be moving forward with no. And do you want resource files for the content and set users roles and all those kind of stuff? Obviously we want to do that. Now here we go. So if you see like this, resource files and Gradle properties were not present. If you open the Gradle properties, it will have all the type of stuffs which you require to build a MarkLogic project. Also, like, we are going to add one more line here so that we don't utilize most of the resources. I'm going to add this ML content forest per host should be 1. So by default it creates around 3, but I'm going to create only 1 forest per database here. Like, one more thing, like if you go here, you'll see ML config, which has database related stuff, the security related stuff, all the users which is created to use in our app, in our application. So here you can see we have a MarkLogic writer which inherits the role of MarkLogic writer, which has kind of some permissions to read and write in our application. So all this kind of stuff is created here. And this another folder known as ML modules. So this folder is actually a placeholder for modules where you can write your modules and then deploy it to your MarkLogic database. Now this ML modules actually works somewhere when you want to use some kind of chord transformation, or you want to use some kind of modules which you want to write for executing it. All this kind of stuff can be written, will be going here. Let's deploy a project. So for deploying, Gradle ML deploy. Obviously this will be, before that, like, I'll just show you our MarkLogic server, the admin port. It's present on 8001 and just need to sign it. And if you see, like, I don't have any kind of REST APIs or any kind of database like related to my MarkLogic. So what I'll do is that after deploying this, all the related documents or database of forest and REST APIs will be created. So if we start with this one, okay, build is successful now. And if we'll go and check out our admin port, so here you will see the content modules and test content database, and similarly the respective forest, similarly the respective REST API ports and the users which we created. So now let's quickly jump and load some kind of data into a MarkLogic. So for that one, I'll be creating another folder known as ML data here, and let me create that folder. So this is a default folder which utilizes or which uses when you want to deploy a default set of data sets into content database, you can use this folder. And obviously, for ML load data, we will be it is by default loading data from this folder. And here I'm going to create a simple XML root and then root, and it will be having my name, and I'm going to save it in the ML data folder, obviously like sample.xml here. Okay, so if you go and look at the query console here, which is present on 8000 port, and admin, you'll see sorry, not this database, but if you select the database from here, the content one, and if you do explore, you won't be able to see any document because we haven't loaded anyone. But if you go and use Gradle ML load data, and this will load the data into MarkLogic. Sample that XML is present here, and if you'll open that, same document is present. So obviously this is not like production related or enterprise related ingestion technique where for that one we obviously need MLCP, we need some kind of Spring Batch to heavily load the data from the file system into MarkLogic or Apache NiFi to load some kind of relational stuff. So in my next video I'll be covering that portion, and I'll be also posting all the related links which might be useful to you. Thank you.